Hello, welcome to Silver Fern brand. My name is Phil. There are 3 mistakes I see people make with supplements every single day, and you need to be aware of these mistakes so that you don't make these mistakes in your selection of supplements in the future. 1, when I first got into the supplement space heavily and started reading all the research studies and all the information on ingredients, I found something super fascinating that most people miss. Most research studies on, at least the clinical research studies on ingredients, are done over 8 to 12 weeks. They're done over 8 to 12 weeks, meaning people, and you're like, well, why does this matter? Because most of us are programmed that if we don't see results in the first 30 days, we quit. We just stop. The problem with that is by setting it, if it doesn't work in the first 30 days, I'm done. It's very inconsistent with the research studies on almost every ingredient that I'm aware of, not all, but a lot that are over 8 to 12 weeks. It takes 8 to 12 weeks for most supplements to work. And you're probably like, yeah, they're supplements. But guess what? Drugs take the same amount of time in many instances. So let's go with fluoxetine and Prozac. Fluoxetine and Prozac to help with depression and mood issues is over 6 to 8 weeks. People don't notice they may have a placebo effect in the first few weeks, but the data suggests it's over 6 to 8 weeks. Stress Complex. We launched Stress Complex last end of November, first part of December. Stress Complex has a saffron side ingredient, saffron. It's a very high standardization concentration of saffron. And it mirrors that 6 to 8 week period that Prozac and fluoxetine does for helping with mood, stress, anxiousness, focus, sleep, all of those things. But it's over 6 to 8 weeks. The reason I'm bringing this up is because most of us take a product for 30 days, and if it's not working really well in 30 days, we kick it to the curb. I didn't personally notice anything with Stress Complex until almost week 8. Okay? I didn't give it the time. So if as you get into taking supplements, one of the most important things you should be paying attention to in the research on supplements or on the products is pay attention to the time it takes for them to work. So a lot of people see our protocols and they're like, oh shit, this is over 90 days. Why do you think we made the protocol over 90 days? We made it over 90 days in many instances because that follows the science and the research. That's how long it takes. And not only that, we also work with people and in the one-on-one, away from all the research studies. That's how long it takes to work. Okay, so there's one. Don't make that mistake. Please give ingredients. If you're gonna take them, find out what the time it takes to work and give it the ample amount of time it takes. Okay. 2. When people read science, so there's all these research studies and all these news pieces of information that come up all over the place, and people collect them. I do. I read them all the time. Here are 2 big things that people miss with all of these research studies. 1, in those research studies, those research studies are done on a very specific standardization of a specific ingredient. So just because the ingredient is on artichoke leaf extract, it does not necessarily apply to all artichoke leaf extract. For example, there's like hundreds of different standardizations of just artichoke leaf extract. So one study doesn't necessarily apply to all of all the same names on labels. A lot of supplement companies are just putting names on labels to impress you. You're like super chlorella, spirulina. They just put superfood names on labels because you're looking for that. The problem with that is the standardization of those ingredients very well probably does not actually align with the actual research. Meaning it'll have the same name, but the standardization is different. Therefore, it does not apply. Okay? You'll notice on our bottles of our products, there's only like 2, 3, 4, maybe 4 active ingredients in most of them. It's because we're using the standardization of specific ingredients that's called for in the clinical research studies because we formulate for results. Okay. Next, dosing. The other part that people miss when they're studying the research studies is the dosing amount. So for example, if a person were taking immunoglobulins for SIBO, IBS, IBD, autoimmune issues, and all those things, if they're taking immunoglobulins in high doses for that, that's not 2 grams a day. A label on a bottle may say 2 grams a day. That's the maintenance dose. The research studies on that are like 8 to 12 grams a day over between 2 to 4 months. The results are extremely effective for immunoglobulins for that, but that dosing is 8 to 12 grams a day, not 2 grams a day as is on most bottles. So why do supplement companies put 2 grams a day of the immunoglobulins on a label? Well, it's simple, because that's the maintenance dose. Most bottles are done on maintenance dosing, okay? I can tell you with Stress Complex, with the saffron, 1 capsule hits the feel-good requirements needed for that product over 6 to 8 weeks. Personally speaking, for sleep, if you go and now you're like, but I also want to take it for sleep, well, the dosing for helping with sleep is two capsules, not 1 capsule, okay? So please be aware of that. Next, this is probably by far one of the most common mistakes that we all make as pertains to supplements. If something starts to feel uncomfortable, we immediately assume it's not working and we stop. We just stop. Now, can certain ingredients cause allergic reactions? For sure, 100%. And if something makes you look like an Oompa Loompa from Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory's that first video back in the 70s, if you all of a sudden look like a purple Oompa Loompa, your skin looks like this, stop. I totally agree with that. But imagine if every time you went into physical therapy or you started exercising and it made you sore, you just stopped. You're like, oh shit, I'm feeling uncomfortable, I'm just gonna stop. That's not a good answer. The answer is to reduce the dosing and slowly build up again. Don't stop. For many of you, those discomforts actually mean the product is working. If you're doing an aggressive cleanup in the gut and you're literally grabbing and ripping shit out, sorry for the language, and you're like, I want to deal with biofilms. A lot of people are like, I want to uproot my biofilms. Think about that. Uproot biofilm. You're saying rip shit out. And if you want to do that, that's an uncomfortable process. You're doing something for hell's sakes, and we want to help you do something for hell's sakes. But please, if it starts to work, don't just stop. People just stop. They're like, oh shit, this is doing something. And they become uncomfortable, a little gas, a little bloating. They're done, they're out. Don't do that. When I first started reflux, for example, the Mucosave, I thought I had pretty good gut health. That Mucosave and reflux coats. It's literally coating and changing the environment. It's helping the mucosal barrier of the system. It's changing the environment of the bacteria, of the microbiome. That's going to come with possibly, not everybody, but for me, it caused me like way bad smelly gas. But it went away. It goes away. So please be aware if you have any discomforts from supplements, and it's other than, like, once again, if you're having a major allergic reaction, yeah, stop taking them. But for most of you, the vast majority of you, if you have discomforts associated with any supplement, reduce the dosing for a couple weeks down to you can take it as little, as little amount as you can, or you feel comfortable, and work your way back up. That's the answer. Don't just stop. Most of you don't realize that when those discomforts actually mean you're doing something, okay? Now, to go along with that, just because you're not feeling just because you're not feeling horrible doesn't mean that you're not getting results, okay? You can still be getting results. Once again, you can still go exercise really hard and not have major soreness the next day and have major benefits, okay? We're all different. So please be aware of these 3 mistakes that people make as it concerns supplement use. I hope this helps.